Today's lesson is about the different types of verbs, and we're going to be learning about 3 types, and you're going to be able to need to find the verb in a sentence as well as differentiate between what kind of verb it is. So first off, verbs are what the subject of a sentence does. Sometimes those are visible, like in the case of the first type of verb here, the action verb, and sometimes they are less visible or more obscure. So we're going to start with action verbs, but each type of verb has its own role. Depending, though, on what the verb is doing, it might be able to be classified as either an action verb or a linking verb, or a helping verb or a linking verb, depending on what type of sentence it is in. So is can be a helping or a linking verb. Smell can be an action or a linking verb, which we'll get to that later. So for action verbs, these verbs are the type of verb where either a physical or mental action is being done or was done in the past. So for mental, for example, he thought about what to do for dinner. Thought is an action verb. It's something someone is doing, but you can't actually see it. As opposed to physical verbs, where he ate dinner with a spoon. Ate is, you can observe that. So ate is an action verb that is physical. Here are some other action verbs that you could do. These are the ones that you guys will have the least problem with because they're the verbs that you've learned about before for sure, and it's obvious when someone is doing them in a sentence. On the other hand, we have helping verbs. Helping verbs are like the helpful friend of the action verb. They chime in to give more information about when an action verb happened. Or they can also tell if something could happen. So when they're used, they're called the helping verb, and the action verb can be called the main verb. So it still is an action verb, but we're classifying it as the main verb. So it's like the best actress, and the helping verb is the supporting actress that helps the best actress look good. They come before the action verb in a typical sentence. For example, he was picking his nose in the middle of class. Was is the helping verb here, and picking is the main verb. So was is acting here to say when this picking of the nose took place. We can tell that it's in the past. So one thing helping verbs do is inform the person who's listening or reading about when whatever the verb we're talking about took place. So here we go. This is the helping verb, helping our main verb. They also can show if an action is hypothetical or only possible. They still come before the action verb, though. I could ask for hand sanitizer. Could is our helping verb, and it's supporting this main verb, ask. So clearly, if we changed that helping verb or took it out, the meaning of the sentence would change. So helping verbs help clarify meaning. There can be up to 4 verbs, 3 helping and 1 action in a row, such as Sean might have picked his nose during class. Might have are both helping verbs, and they help come up with a different type of construction here. Or Sean could have been picking his nose. So 1, 2, 3, 4, but instead he took notes. Usually we probably only have about 1 helping verb and 1 main verb. Notice there's only 1 main verb out of this. So if you have multiple here, it's going to be you're adding on to the helping. So the only exception to this helping verb coming before the main verb rule, of course, is in questions. Questions always make everything wonky. So in questions, the helping verb and the action verb, they end up getting separated by the subject if there are only 2 verbs. So could you ask for help? Helping still comes first, could, and then we get this you is the subject and ask is the main verb. So if you're not sure, you can rewrite it as a regular sentence. You could ask for help. So you could ask for help makes it even clearer that you is the subject, since the subject comes before the verb, and could is the helping verb and ask is the main verb. Now, if you're going to have more than 1 helping verb, then it gets a little bit trickier. Might Sean have picked his nose? So here we've got 1 helping verb, a subject, another helping verb, and then the verb again. the main verb. And so the subject gets squished in there a little bit differently. Same thing though, if you rewrote this sentence as a just a non-question, you could say Sean might have picked his nose, and then it's easier to find the helping verb. So if you ever come across a question, rewriting it without the question can help. Here are some helping verbs that you will frequently see: is, am, are, was, were, be, being, been, has, have, had, do, does, did, shall, will, should, would, may, might, must, can, could. The last type of verb, though, is the linking verb. And these verbs are when the verb acts as an equal sign between the subject and a description. So it's like a little bridge, like this. So let's look at an example. The president was unhappy. So when we can substitute an equal sign in where the verb was, that means it's a linking verb. So since in this case president equals unhappy, it's a linking verb. The most common linking verbs are the versions of to be. I am, he is, you are, they were, he was. You can see how this works. I am a teacher. I equal teacher. He is hungry. He equals hungry. So these ones are the ones that are most obvious. But some words can be either linking or action verbs. It depends on the usage. So those are the ones that are a little trickier, and you have to maybe actually do that, adding the equal sign in. So the dog smelled the flower. Smelled can be an action verb, or it can be a linking verb. So if we try this, dog equals flower, no, that must be an action verb because it didn't, work that way. But if it said the dog smelled of skunk, if we put in the equal sign, actually, even though this is a little awkward, the answer is yes. Smelled here is a linking verb because in this case, dog does equal skunk smell. You just want to make sure you're thinking about it as well. Here's another example. She appears to be happy. So if we say she equals happy, yes, that's a linking verb. But if we have the magician appeared out of thin air, we might have magician is out of thin air. So the magician doesn't equal out of thin air. No, that's what the magician did. So it's an action verb. The man grew tired of the sound of her voice. So does man equal tired? Yes. So grew in this case is a linking verb. On the other hand, the boy grew vegetables in the side yard. Boy does not equal vegetables. So in that case, grew is an action verb. So there is no one label for some of these. You just have to think about them. And another thing that you can try if the equals seems awkward to you is you could just say substitute is in for the verb. So the man is tired. So is also can indicate it's a linking verb. I would say the equals might work a little bit more than the is, but you can try both if you're not sure. If you're like up in the air, try both and see if they sound good. But it still negates the other one. The boy is vegetables in the side yard does not make sense. So, in which sentence is sound a linking verb? I sound the alarm, or I sound nervous on stage. I is the alarm, or I equal the alarm. That doesn't make sense. So, and you can tell because you can see her doing it, this is an action verb. Whereas here, I equal nervous, that equation makes sense for this sentence. And if I said I is nervous, you would say it's poor grammar. But if you remember the slide before with the be verbs conjugated, you remember that to be, when it's about I, is am. So if I said I am nervous, you would see that this works. This is why I like the equals better. All right, now you should have been taking notes throughout this, so reread over your notes and take the practice quiz at this address. You can find this link on Canvas as well. You need to come in with your notes and you need to write down how many, what score you get on the practice quiz. All right, you will not be graded for the score, but you do have to have it. Thank you.